I think 1.5 years later,
Mm-hmm.
there came a couple of incidents, life-changing incidents, I mean, life-threatening incidents, which changed my life.
Okay.
So
Okay. So.
that's when I realized that I must have read at least 100 blogs before
Okay.
even starting off with the first video. A job opportunity came
Mm-hmm.
at Google,
Okay.
and I latched onto that. Like
Okay.
I was like, okay, here's an opportunity. No, let's go for Google.
First of all, thank you so much for doing this, taking out time to all the things you're juggling professionally, personally, or whatever you're doing. So taking out this time is like really means a lot for me. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Sukha. Thank you for that. And thank you for inviting me.
It's been a long time that I started watching your YouTube videos. So it started while I was in college. So it's more like 4 or 5 years back. So at the time when you started your YouTube channel, I don't think anyone was there in the tech industry like doing YouTube. I think there was Rachit, who else was doing. So like now there are a lot of tech YouTubers doing a lot of different things, but you were kind of doing something unique at that point. So how did you get the idea that you should start putting out this tech content on YouTube?
The very first video I made was on computer programming in Java,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
it was on some design patterns that software engineers can use for computer programming. It was so niche,
Okay.
and I remember that uh, there were around 1,000 subscribers after 1 year. It was a niche topic,
Hmm.
and on top of that, I was like pretty proud of what I made. Even now, I'm quite proud of the content that was created. First 7 videos were
Mhm.
very niche.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's where the idea started. It was a piece of information that nobody knew about, and I wanted everyone to know, or let's say the computer programmers.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
After that, what happened is now I create videos on sorting also, which is
Yeah.
something I never thought I'll create because
Yeah.
there's so much content around it.
Yeah.
But yes, the content that I've created around sorting is also unique. Topic is so huge that I would not have dared do that
Hmm.
initially.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know if I answered the question, but
Yeah.
it was random, should I say? Yes.
Yeah. But like, what was the motivation behind it? Like, you wanted to, like, I don't think YouTube was really big at that time in India for studying purposes. So, like, it would have involved a lot of insight to actually put something on YouTube.
So frankly, I just knew that this information does not exist anywhere on
Hmm.
the online.
Yeah.
So there is a need to put it out there.
Hmm.
And why YouTube?
Mhm.
Because I could show the code and talk about it and talk about my thoughts while I was typing the code.
Hmm.
It was a bit of a random decision and a bit of a calculated decision. I think I really liked the way that the audio and the video was flowing
Hmm.
without any mic, without any reveal of a face or anything like that. I was able to just go ahead and shoot the video.
Hmm.
Uh, the primary intent initially was just to give information which does not exist.
Hmm.
Later on, I think 1.5 years later,
Hmm.
there came a couple of incidents, life-changing incidents, I mean, life-threatening incidents, which changed my life.
Okay.
So
Okay. So.
that's when I realized that, listen, I have this channel, I have the expertise, especially in computer programming.
Hmm.
Why not start posting videos which help the world?
Hmm.
Because
Okay.
what happened strangely is there was a situation when I felt that today is the last day on the planet.
Okay.
The kind of things you think about at that time are no longer I need to pay bills or anything.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
it's like what impact did you make? Is there any imprint? Will anybody remember you?
Hmm.
And so the priorities shifted very quickly. I'm not sure before that whether I was even interested in YouTube. After
Okay.
that, when the interest actually came up
Mm.
tremendous.
Mm-hmm. Like you mentioned, after that also, like, you have always stuck to creating things like mostly educational wise. Yeah, like you have been teaching system design things. Now you started teaching about entrepreneurship that you are doing it. So I don't think that you ever saw it to like be a big YouTuber or grow. You always saw it as to put out maximum value to the people. So did you ever think to specifically about growing YouTube channel, or was it always about putting out content which is helpful and unique?
It's been both. At
Okay.
5,000 subscribers, I
Hmm.
started thinking about 10,000,
Yeah.
and it was there in the back of my head all the time.
Hmm.
And I used to see the statistics every day,
Hmm.
like not just every day, probably every hour.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. It's kind of same with me right now.
Exactly. And it's a really good phase because what you're doing is you're not trying to gain the subscribers,
Hmm.
You're not trying to say that I want the maximum number of subscribers at any cost, but you want the maximum number of subscribers. It's
Yeah.
like you want to earn the maximum amount of money you can, but
Yeah.
with good work, right?
Yeah, with good work.
You're not okay with conning.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So that is actually an interesting state to be in, because you are working hard, you deserve subscribers. Is there somewhere in the back of your head?
Hmm.
I used to focus a lot on that. At 10,000, I calmed down a lot.
Hmm.
Up to 20, I think I was again going at a slow pace.
Hmm.
From 20, then again my mind woke up. 1 lakh is possible.
Hmm.
And after 1 lakh, again I kind of shut down for a couple of months.
Okay.
Then till now, the 1 million thing
Hmm.
is still not reached, but I have a feeling at 700K, it's going to again kick. Like, I'm not sure, Sukhat, if you have gone through the same thing. I think all of us go through the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, I also go through the same thing. And like one thing which like keeps on bugging me is like creating some videos like which get a lot of engagement, but I don't feel like I should create them. You can easily get engagement, like you also know that with a lot of different things. But you post something which is valuable and actually helpful to a lot of.
Do you also believe that, long term this helps, in the sense that MIT professors, are their videos once posted are always watched? You have a lot of people posting a lot of content whose only factor for watching is recency
Mhm.
or shock value. You see it once and you're done.
Yeah.
PewDiePie, for example,
Mhm.
don't get me wrong, and I'm not talking about, like, I don't even know the guy much, but
Yeah.
there's a reason why, probably because
Mhm.
it's not the kind of content that I look into much.
Mhm.
Who will remember that kind of content is something that I think of.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Like putting something out really valuable, like even now, like anyone who is trying to understand some architectures, they can look at the videos that you have created. So yeah, in long run, definitely these kind of things really help to build kind of the credibility that you want in the field, and also helping to people. So like while you were doing this, like creating these kind of videos, I know they involve a lot of work because I also try to create these videos. They involve a lot of research. So along with the job, you were doing this. So you had a full-time job at that time at Direct Eye, and before that at Morgan Stanley. So like, how did you spend your time? Like, where did you research different topics? What kind of books did you read?
Initially, when it was computer programming, I was reading blogs and editorials.
Both
When I switched
sources.
to system design, I don't know whether this is accurate, but I must have read at least 100 blogs before
Okay.
even starting off with the first video.
Okay.
And it was like, I did a depth first search. So
Hmm.
I said, okay, what's the most basic thing when it comes to system design? I need to know how requests are balanced, load
Hmm.
balancing.
Hmm.
I went for load balancing, and then there was something about what about sticky sessions. So I
Hmm.
opened that up.
Hmm.
Sticky session says, oh, there's consistent hashing also that you can know about.
Hmm.
And consistent hashing tells you, oh, it's a variation of sharding. So now what you're seeing is I started with load balancer and went all the way in
Hmm. Hmm.
to I was I was like brutal with myself, because I kind of knew that if I don't know what I'm talking about, it's going to be useless. It's
Yeah,
again going to get
exactly.
that shock value.
Yeah, right, right. You are exactly right.
Like
Hmm.
system design, I know about it, and then
Yeah.
you don't really know about it. So that'll be a problem.
Yeah.
I started there, and very honestly, the
Hmm.
initial videos, although I knew what I'm talking about,
Hmm.
I now know much more.
Hmm.
The quality of the videos was good enough for SD1.
Hmm.
I would say, listen, Gaurav, why aren't you talking about these things now?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, you missed these points.
Hmm. Okay.
At least nothing was inaccurate or outright wrong,
Hmm.
but there are some like gaps.
Yeah.
Still very superficial,
Hmm.
because even if you go 4 layers down in a chess game,
Hmm.
there's 10 that the staff engineer can see.
Hmm.
Uh, and it'll always be the case. Now, if I can see 6 levels down, there's still going to be some lack of depth.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is something
This
which
one
still
happens.
affects me. Yeah.
Yeah, this happens. Like it sometimes happens that like you created a video and like just 2 3 weeks after that you read something and you realize, oh, this applies to that and this could be done differently.
How do you deal with that? Because
Hmm.
it feels it's a trade-off, right, between studying
Hmm.
more and more, and
Putting out.
between saying that, okay, let's post that knowledge out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's rather like making a product. Like, okay, I can make it perfect, but perfect
Hmm.
does not exist. So at
Yeah.
what point do you cut off? It's a fine line. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really fine name. So, how are your experiences like being a software engineer? So like, did the actual work actually help you in your channel, or it was all you did all the studying on the side? So while you were at the companies like Morgan Stanley, Direct, Uber.
It did help,
Mm-hmm.
but it was primarily theoretical.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
If I'm really frank with you,
Mm-hmm.
the kind of things you do in the job are much more about how is this API going to be, made, who's going to be consuming this API. It's very close to the implementation,
Mm-hmm.
actually, the systems that you design.
Yeah.
You might be designing certain systems which are going to be used by any kind of users. I guess the more senior you become,
Mm-hmm.
even in the organization, you start building systems which are platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Many teams can use.
Mm-hmm.
But initially, as SD1 and SD2, a lot of the things that you do are around. There's a specific reason why this is being created,
Mm-hmm.
and the feature has a very. The deadline is not too far,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not like you can design this all the way to
Yeah, the
optimality.
perfection. Yeah.
Yeah, so in my experience in Directa and Uber was, if I'm doing some sort of a design,
Mm-hmm.
then yes, the theory helps,
Mm.
but in practice, you're like, okay, dude, create this CRUD API,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
right? Because
Yeah.
90% of the time you're creating a CRUD API, or
Mm.
you're talking about how is this going to happen, and then you're thinking about what SQL query to fire, how do
Mm-hmm.
you store the data. It's
Mm.
not going to be so much that, all right, I'm going to push it to this queue and then I'm going to send it in some load balancer or something like that. That's not going to happen.
Mm.
And if that is happening all the time, you have to sort of ask yourself that, am I overcomplicating the system, or can I abstract out certain problems over here?
Mm.
Like you work at Google, Sukhad,
Mm-hmm.
Google is so advanced in terms of the tech stack that it uses that,
Mm-hmm.
from what I've heard,
Mm.
a lot of tools are internal tools.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Come up with something, you have to use tools which have already been created, because you don't want to go around testing, developing everything.
Yeah, yeah. Mm.
Makes a lot of sense. But as a developer, then it's not like you sit down and say, all right, let's do Kafka. There's no such thing as Kafka in Google.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
going to have your own message.
yeah, right. Yeah. So this used to happen at Amazon also. So like while I was at Amazon, so we already had a lot of things built around. And like if like suppose you mention Kafka, like if we ever felt the need of using Kafka, then we go to AWS and just pick out any technology that we want to use.
It's strange in a way that it's like learning about algorithms to some extent.
Mm.
Knowing the algorithms helps, knowing the internals helps.
Yeah, that
Some
definitely
design
helps.
discussions are so deep that yes,
Yeah.
it helps.
Mm.
But very often, I guess that's the reason why we are paid pretty well
Mm-hmm.
as engineers.
Yeah.
We know the internal concepts,
Mm.
and if needed, we can talk about it. But then
Yeah.
we are also mechanics. We
Mm.
do things.
Yeah.
We make things. So yeah, scientists plus mechanics. That's engineers here.
Yeah. So how did you balance your the job and this YouTube journey? So on the job, you must be thinking about getting a promotion, maybe being a manager someday, or being a principal engineer, going to that level. So what were your thoughts about your career, which was going? Did you ever think of even maybe moving abroad?
I think many of these things came to my mind, but they became more and more of a dream. As I started focusing more and more on YouTube,
Hmm.
there's lots of folks who are able to handle YouTube and their job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I was doing a very good job at my
Okay.
job.
Mm-hmm.
As time progressed, I started focusing more on YouTube, which meant most of not just my time but also my mental power was going on. Hey, how do I grow this channel?
Hmm.
How do I create the best possible content?
Mm-hmm.
The fact is, I was the person who was shooting, editing,
Yeah.
researching the videos.
Hmm.
It's time consuming, as you
Yeah.
know. The more you start to get into this, the more you realize that this is actually a full time thing. If you can,
Hmm.
I mean, if you really
Yeah.
want to grow, it's a full time thing. So at that point, I would say it happened once
Mm-hmm.
in direct time
Hmm.
that I realized that this is not working out. It's
Mhm.
better to quit. So
Okay.
I quit. And then Uber came along, and I thought that, all right, listen, are you really
Hmm.
ready for a full time YouTube thing?
How many
Because we really
subscribers
know.
did you have when you quit Direct Eye?
So I actually connected with my parents, and
Hmm.
and I connected with my girlfriend, and I told them both that this is what's on my mind. And both of like my parents are supportive, my girlfriend was supportive. Surprisingly, that's when I started realizing, hey, this girlfriend can be a long-term person. So once they conform, then they become very interesting people.
Mm.
But when Uber came along, I think one of the things which was there in the back of my head is, oh, this is a big MNC, growing very quickly,
Mm.
very good salary,
Mm-hmm.
it's got brand.
Mm.
These are the things which are on my mind. And also, I was like, you have roughly 3 years of experience. What do you know
Mm-hmm.
about
Right.
software engineering? Why don't you gain some more experience?
Mm. Okay.
But I would say, frankly speaking, maybe in 9 months' time,
Mhm.
in Uber, I just decided, and it's unfair
Mm.
to the organization. It's unfair to my team, which is depending on, Gaurav can do this much and
Mm.
he's not.
Mhm.
And it's unfair to the YouTube channel also,
Mm.
that, I'm here and
Mhm.
I mean, I'm just there because I'm there.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I'm doing some good to the world. I'm just there.
Mm. Mm.
The strange thing here that I would say is, if you are working in a company and you really, really are passionate about something else,
Mhm.
it's very hard to continue performing good in both places.
Mm.
At least for me.
Mm.
I'll tell you an interesting story. I don't know. I know it's becoming a really long answer.
Mhm.
I started building habits
Okay.
when I was at Uber, right?
Mhm.
I started building a habit of, this is not my passion.
Mm.
My passion is YouTube.
Okay.
Okay. And what happened is, when I left my job
Mhm.
and I had all the time in the world to create YouTube videos,
Mhm.
I started looking for, YouTube is not my passion.
Different things. This happens a lot.
Exactly. Like, here's my responsibility. No, run. So it's not just about, follow your passion, follow your dream. You should,
Mm.
but if you don't do that properly, then you will build habits which are very dangerous.
Mm.
It took me months to get out of that. Like, I would say it took me probably a year
Mm.
to, the moment this happened, by the way, the
Mm.
moment I got, I got this thing that, let's start my own thing.
Mm.
A job opportunity came
Mhm.
at Google,
Okay.
and I latched onto that. Like,
Okay.
I was like, okay, here's an opportunity. No, let's go for Google, because I'm scared. And this is it really my passion? I'm not sure. So the same thing happened, which had happened in Direct Eye after leaving Direct Eye.
Mm.
And it's very surprising. I didn't get the job offer from Google. I was getting a role which was not matching my experience. So
Mm.
it was as good as a polite no.
Mm.
So at that time, I realized, okay, I will be going for interview ready.
Mm.
That's pretty scary, that
Mm.
you're finally forced to make a decision.
Mm.
It took me months to actually calm down and start focusing on the one thing that I had.
Yeah.
I would say this is very similar to relationships where, if you are forced to commit, there's so much fear before commitment.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, this happens with on a smaller level also. So like you keep on thinking that you want to create these videos, and if I just had time, I would be creating these. And then you get the time, like you have a 5 day week, and still you don't create them because there are other things which you do.
Man, this is just about, to some extent, blaming
Yeah.
external factors. And the second thing, which is the most dangerous, is actually building bad habits, which
Mm.
happened.
Mm.
And I would strongly suggest, like, if you're thinking about, I have a startup idea, I am passionate, or
Mm.
I love freelancing, it's just what I like to do, this is
Mm.
not what I want to do. Be a little careful. Your mind has ways to trick you,
Mm.
and if you don't, acknowledge that,
Mhm.
it can be very scary after you're left, because you have like 24 hours a day to do what you want to do, and you're just,
Mm.
I don't want to do it now.
Yes, so like I'll come back to that question, that like when you were leaving this, how many subscribers did you have and how much money you were actually making with YouTube? Was it equal to your job that
When I was leaving, I think I had around 150K or 160K subscribers.
okay.
And when the amount of money I was making
Mhm.
was something like 8 lakhs a month
Okay.
or 6 lakhs a month, which is significant.
Mhm.
Even in 2019, right?
Yeah.
It's actually pretty high. So that includes the Uber salary.
Mhm.
If you take that out, then it used to be roughly 4 to 6 lakhs a month.
Mhm.
Okay, this
Okay.
is just sponsorships and affiliates.
Mhm.
I would say that gave me a lot of security in terms of financial security.
Mhm.
The reason I said that it started getting scary is when the people who you are, an affiliate for
Hmm.
are now your competition. So you have to stop.
Oh, okay.
So that's when it gets scary, because all the the revenue streams prior.
Right, right. You are right. Why did you think of starting Interview Ready? So did this happen like when you were at Uber itself, or you were thinking about this when you started your YouTube channel itself? Like when did the idea come in that you have to start something, a startup, which is focused on interview preparation?
It wasn't really an interview preparation platform, if I'm frank with you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe for some founders, it's easy to have a very long-term vision.
Mm-hmm.
Interview ready means we will help simplify interviews and we will take care of the entire interview process. That is not how I thought of this. I actually thought of, hey, what's my expertise? And what is my audience looking for?
Mm-hmm.
So, system design content. Okay, I can do that. What about data structures and algorithms? Yeah, I can make content around that also. This is a significant portion of interview preparation, and therefore that's two products. Let's go out there and build. That is what we were at. Once there was enough sales, and once there was the team size grew to, let's say, 3 or 4 people, that's when I started thinking about the vision of the company.
Okay.
Before that, I guess I hadn't even developed eyes, so I couldn't see that far.
Okay.
There are founders who I have met who have long-term visions. It really helps. If I ever start another company, I will have a long-term vision before I start. This time it was just like, okay, let's build a product, and then the product actually gave us the vision.
Okay.
Long-term vision after some time.
Yeah, it started growing, so you thought that what can you do other things with it? Yeah. Do you think of expanding to like other regions? So suppose the interview process changes at some point in time. Like it's not happening, we know, for a lot of time, but suppose if it changes. Because system design is not just related to interviews. It's you required in everyday work that we do.
In fact, we have a internal joke in the company which says that that's my secret captain. I'm always interview ready.
Okay.
So, which means that like the Hulk says that you are always prepared. So, interview ready is more about upskilling and being ready with your job role, so that when you walk into the interview, you're fine. It also comes partly from my own experience as a software engineer. If you're a competitive programmer, and if you have a YouTube channel on system design, you are constantly upskilling yourself or upgrading your at least theoretical knowledge, because of which when you walk into the interview, failing an interview is hard. Having said that, I have failed interviews. It's not like I've never failed interviews, but usually the interviews are a success.
Yeah, I have also seen this. Like for competitive programmers who are good, who have been good with their competitive programming journey, it's like really hard for them to actually fail interviews.
Data structures and algorithms are very hard to fail. I don't think I have actually. I can't. I remember one Amazon interview which I failed.
Okay.
But I can't remember any data structures and algorithms interview otherwise which I failed. I'm not boasting. I'm just telling you this is a side effect of competitive programming.
Yeah, this is true. I totally agree to it. Yeah. So like one of the issues which I faced like when I was doing competitive programming, that after a certain point I got stuck. Like I couldn't improve. I was giving contests, but I think that was mostly because of lack of consistency, because I was doing other things along with it, like research I was doing and all those things. So like I used to do for 1 month, then take a break, do some other things, and then pick up 1 month later. So I think that was the major reason. So like what suggestion would you give to people who are trying to get better and are stuck on that plateau, unable to grow?
So yeah, if you're plateaued, one of the things you can do is maybe you need a theoretical upgrade. So for example, some things can be handled by using your existing knowledge. So the first few questions in any programming platform, you can just use our logic and figure things out. All right, if you know binary search, if you know some basic dynamic programming, if you know a couple of things, you're sorted. Let's say even if you don't know dynamic programming, you know graphs, trees, some are ad hoc algorithms, binary search, binary trees, boom. You're doing pretty well. After a certain point, you cannot come up with the data structure of a segment tree mid-contest.
Yeah, right.
You have to be like, I don't know, maybe Martin Kleppmann or something short to figure that out.
Right.
So at that time, you need a theoretical upgrade, go through certain data structures and algorithms which are popular in competitive programming. You might also, like, there are certain algorithms that I'm talking about, like number theory, combinatorics, dynamic programming. You might want to see the concept again properly.
Yeah.
So that theory actually helps you break that plateau. And again,
Okay.
you have a new set of tools which you can use for different problems.
Mm.
Eventually, you will plateau there also, but
Yeah.
like this first plateau is like you're already in the 90 percentile. You're actually pretty good.
Okay.
Okay. Then comes you're like at the 99 percentile.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
but to be world rank one or something like it,
Yeah.
because that guy is also going on touching
Plateau.
plateaus.
Yeah. 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 So that's a different game then. Like
Yeah,
that.
that's a very.
Yeah. You have to actually spend a lot of time doing it.
Do you think it's worth it?
I think if you like doing it, then it's worth it. Otherwise,
Would you say it's like running a marathon? Like the question is, do you think it's worth it? Yeah, it has nothing to do with the result. It's just about you enjoy the
yeah,
journey.
yeah. If you enjoy it, then yeah. Like, I think most of the people would stop enjoying it after you hit a plateau.
Yeah, and also after a certain point in time, I don't know. I feel like the thing is way too heavy.
Hmm.
Like, mathematics is just insane.
Yeah.
Especially like heavy light decomposition is probably the place where I went. Okay, now
This
this
is
is
getting
sufficient. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. This used to happen a lot, right? So
yeah. You're coding out fast Fourier transform. That time you know that
it's tough.
intense. Yeah.
Yeah. So what would be your advice to college students who are not liking competitive programming?
I think it's totally fine, guys. If you don't like computer programming, it's fine. It's like I want to join the army, and my fitness is not as much as a marathon runner. It's okay. Your fitness has to be good. There's no getting around it.
Hmm.
So there are platforms which will help you prepare. Lead Code is the most popular platform.
Yeah.
There's Hacker Earth, Hacker Rank,
Yeah.
Code Chef. I used to use Code Chef. I found the platform when I used to use it pretty reasonable. Now I don't know what's happened to it. I haven't heard of it.
Yeah.
So maybe no more.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're good enough, once you have cleared the filter, there are many other things you can do to make your profile stand out. For example, if you have an internship,
Mm-hmm.
that is more valuable than a corporate programming. I would say even a 5-star.
Okay.
Okay, personally speaking, if I am the recruiter, I will definitely look more at has this person done an internship. That's more valuable as a business.
Okay.
Internship from a good company, yeah, sure. If you have, let's say, done something like a GSOC or something, that also matters a lot. Eventually,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
development skills will be calculated. What do you think, Sukhad?
Yeah. Yeah. I also did GSOC. It definitely helps. Like I was a part of college placements initially when I got to Amazon. So at that time, I didn't think anything other than data success mattered because no one even looked at the resume much. It was just mattered that if you're able to get through the online assessment, give the interviews well, and then you are in. But definitely, like if you are switching, like for me, obviously, like being at Amazon mattered, so that takes more advantage. Yeah.
What do you? Until recently, it seems like getting an internship was also, hey, here's a coding problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm biased, but I just feel like that method is little outdated. Maybe you can ask them small assignment or something.
Yeah, I think it differs for a lot of different organizations. Some organizations, I have seen this in a lot of international organizations, startups basically. They pay fine and they still ask for assignments. And I actually gave one of those assignments. So I used to do a lot of computer vision. GSOC I did an OpenCV. So I got one computer vision assignment to do. They kind of used it as the first thing to go. So I think, yeah, people are kind of shifting towards it, but still majority lies towards data structure, system design, these things.
Very interesting. Yeah, you're right. Startups actually are moving to this, but the larger organizations are still using the structures and algorithms. So maybe
Yeah.
it's too early to make any kind of
Right. So, system design, like you started. So, when did you decide that now, like, you should make videos on system design? That's because you were also trying to learn things. That was the major reason, or like, yeah.
two things. One was too much content programming material was already out there. Like I was thinking about moving from medium to advanced. The plateau that you talked about, that's exactly what we wanted to, break. So
Okay.
once you've broken that plateau, now comes the next plateau, which is after heavy light decomposition, what do I do? I know about fast Fourier transform. What next? So geometry algorithms and other stuff.
Yeah.
That is not something that I know. So no point in me teaching
Okay.
that. Plus, I'm not excited about it. So
Hmm.
at the same time, this is the second thing.
Hmm.
lot of the interns who were joining the organization I was working for, they used
Mm-hmm.
to struggle, and I mean actually suffer unnecessarily for the first 2 or 3 months because they
Mm-hmm.
had no idea how systems or software is made. They would come and they would be really good at algorithms and
Mm-hmm.
smart folks, but
Mm-hmm.
you tell them, this request, this is an HTTP request, it's coming over here, it's going to the database. We are talking to this microservice. Dude, what is
Mm-hmm.
HTTP?
Yeah.
Then the other thing is microservice. I mean, I don't know what that means.
Mm.
APIs, clients are
Mm.
being handled here. Like, what do you mean? Clients, matlab kya? So, the client is a software that you can use to talk to other systems. No, nobody has told them this. So,
Mm.
I saw that they are suffering. I actually volunteered to new folks who are joining. Let me
Give
introduce
a
them,
talk.
yeah, to this
Mm.
new world of system,
Mm.
or just software architecture. So
Mm.
I started doing that, and I saw that this is also helping them. It's not just that it's a
Mm-hmm.
problem; it's actually the solution is right here.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for a while, and then I said, okay, fine. I actually started making YouTube videos for the
Mm-hmm.
organization initially.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought
Okay.
that will be helpful, but it turns out that it did get used,
Okay.
because maybe I got it a little wrong, or I'm not very sure exactly why. Uh, but then I thought, okay, if
I think people don't want to spend much time,
yeah,
maybe.
it didn't get used. No, it was like this, like it just like a pull request, right? It has to get
Mm.
accepted. So
Mm.
I think the folks who were talking about accepting it, they felt like, no, this part, is deprecated. This part is can be explained better, and it's not like code
Mm.
where you just go and change things. The
Mm-hmm.
editing and
Right.
everything is happening by me, so it's too expensive to make the
Mm.
changes. Then I said, all right, there's something very specific to the company. That
Mm.
system is going to keep changing tomorrow also. Why not just take out the generic principles and talk about
And put it. Mm.
everybody? So that way,
Mm.
you reach out to more people, but more
Mm.
importantly, you do something which is useful. When that happened, yeah, then I started posting on YouTube about system design, and initially, I got a lot of pushback from folks saying that, whoa, this is a corporate programming channel, bro. What is this? So,
Yeah.
but I had to keep going. Yeah, it was hard convincing people that once you join the job, this is what you will be doing, and they're like, "अरे पहले job तो लगने दो." Like, वो वाला thing.
Okay. So, what was growth like on your YouTube? So, it is generally that educational videos don't get much views initially. Initially, on because I don't know why people don't like to watch. But slowly over time, when people actually search for that thing, then they see. So, what was your, I would say, inflection point when actually people starting more of your videos?
Yeah, the first one was when I did a collaboration with CS Dojo.
Okay.
This is a person who had at that time 200K subscribers. Now they have more than 2 million. That really helped. It gave like 1,000 subscribers in 3 days or something, which was insane
Okay.
for a channel
Mm-hmm.
going at 30 subscribers a day.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happened after that was, okay, the rate at which subscribers were increasing went up. It almost doubled after that. So from 30 went to
Okay.
60, which is a big boost. Uh,
Mm.
then I started posting system design videos, and some of them were kind of funny. Like there was me
Mm-hmm.
in a double role and all that stuff.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So with those kind of videos,
Mm.
the popularity started going up a little. But really, what really boosted it again was
Mm-hmm.
how to start with corporate programming. The most cliche video
Okay.
ever. I had gotten this
Uh,
question enough times that I was convinced. Okay, ठीक है, चलो one video I'll make for you. Otherwise,
okay.
and it was just a 2 minute video, but it got a lot of subscribers. It again doubled from 60. We went to almost 140 or so.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
the last inflection point was system design of WhatsApp. I didn't expect this
Yeah.
to do anything special or anything, because I had made system design of Tinder, which was, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, a better video. But
Mm.
for some reason, like system design on WhatsApp, everyone's like, oh yeah, I need this. It went up a lot. It went up to like 500 on average, and
Mm-hmm.
even after it dipped, it stayed 300 for years.
That's pretty amazing. So yeah, so I think we have almost talked about everything. I would just like to, on the final note, I would like to ask, like, considering the layoffs and the recession going on, what advice would you give to people who are in the industry or who are fresh graduates?
Fresh graduates, I would probably suggest don't think too much about the layoffs because you can't control it,
Mm,
right? And many of these things are temporary.
mm,
You are an engineer, similar to a doctor or a good lawyer.
mhm,
You actually are very, very employable,
mhm,
like super employable. Somebody needs you.
mm.
Or should I put it this way? We desperately need
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Like when there's a doctor, no country in the world says, "What do I do with doctors?" Like we need
Right.
doctors.
Yeah.
Uh, when you're talking about good lawyers, like really really good lawyers, they're also very rare.
Mhm,
And so any highly skilled job is difficult to fill. Engineers also, you need engineers.
mm,
So as long as you're in the top, should I say 10%,
mm.
you don't need to worry. You will
Okay.
get most likely multiple job offers despite the recession. Don't let it affect you in any way.
Mhm,
News like this affects people who are probably in the top region, right? If they're laid off,
mhm,
it's difficult for them to find a job with the
mhm.
same pay,
Yeah.
same work-life balance. You have a wife, you have kids,
Mm,
you have to switch cities sometimes,
mhm,
or so it's a pain.
mhm.
For you, it's like, dude, just get up and go. That's it.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen? Also, at the age of let's say 45 or 50, when you have to make a switch, if it takes too long, it doesn't look so good on your resume.
Mm, right.
Although you have a lot of experience, so it's not like that also.
Mhm.
But for young kids, fresh kids, it's like, yeah, I was searching for a job for 6 or 7 months. Sure, okay, that's normal.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Like one last question I missed earlier, that how has your work-life balance changed when you started interview ready?
Initially, when there was YouTube going on, I used to work on Saturday and Sunday,
Mm,
and I used to work on after office.
yeah.
But it's much more intense now,
Okay.
and I'm happy about it.
Mm,
I'm happy to say that the horrible habits that I had built around escapism and
mm,
many of the problems which had come up just by not working
mm,
enough
mhm.
are now. I hope they never come back.
Okay.
It's gone for now, and I really hope it never comes back because it's intense
Mhm,
and I love it. Like
mm,
I work. Uh, Either it's meetings or I'm actually just researching something or I'm planning something or
mm,
every day is new, super exciting. And despite working like intensely, like maybe at 5x of how much I was doing at work in even in my second year or third year of any company that I've worked in,
mhm.
I'm very very happy.
Okay.
I really really like seeing results.
Mm.
Things are happening.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sales
we
are
are
up.
in charge.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I
That's
guess, Sukhat, in fact, if I have to think of this in terms of working in an organization,
Mhm.
if you build a product and you see it go to production and everyone talks about it and you put in more effort and more people talk
Mm.
about it and more people use it, I guess it's a similar feeling.
Yeah, it's a similar thing, right? Yeah, it actually feels really great. Yes. Yeah, I think this was really amazing and insightful for me also, and for other people who will be watching this, fresh graduates, people doing competitive programming. So I think this was a really great talk. Thanks for taking
Thank
out
you.
time from your.
Thank you for inviting me, Sukhat, and thank you for making this possible. The questions are really interesting. I had to think about, how much do I say now?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that
Awesome.
you liked it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
See you guys. Bye.
See you.